Okay, what I've done now is just to quickly lay out all of the sheets on the table without taping anything or matching any lines. This is just done so that I make sure I printed everything and it's in the proper order, and as you can see, it immediately looks like a pattern sheet. It's just a little crooked. So this particular sheet has 3 pages to a row and 4 rows down. And the next step is to begin to match the lines very carefully and line them up and tape them together. I recommend using a white background. I'm on a darker background table here. If you don't have a white table, you can lay down a white sheet, or you can use a conventional cutting board, one of those cardboard deals that you get from the fabric store. It just helps a little bit to have that white background, because then you're going to be able to see the darker lines through this white margin. A lot of people want to know why there's a white margin around all the pages. That's for the simple reason that 99% of printers will not print lines that run all the way to the edge of the sheet. And with that being the case, if I were to run them all the way to the edge and your printer chopped them off, you would be missing lines. And when you went to match your pages together, your pattern would be too small and it wouldn't fit. So what we did is we compromised and just put a 1/4 inch margin all the way around, and that way you don't end up losing part of your pattern. Now the matching job is the most tedious part of this. It does take time, and you do want to be careful that everything is lining up properly as you do this. But do keep in mind, you're a human being, you're not perfect. Nobody can match up every single line absolutely on the spot to the pixel. Don't worry about that. It's when you cut out a pattern with your scissors, you also can't cut straight because you're a human being. It's going to work. It's going to be fine. So don't obsess about, oh dear, this line is off by a hair. It's fine if it's off by a hair. You're going to cut off by a hair anyway. If you have a window nearby and you don't have a light background, it's perfectly fine to hold up your pages so that you've got a backlight, and then you can easily see where the lines match. As you can tell, the pages overlap, and then when the lines just touch, that's where they match. But the way I've done it is just lay it out here on the table. I recommend starting your taping in the middle, just because it prevents problems. If you start at a corner and work your way down, it tends to get more and more crooked as you go on. If you start in the middle, you're going to have fewer problems. So on this particular pattern, I'm not going to start on the arrow sheet because there's nothing to line up with right here. There's lines at the bottom to line up with. But I'm going to match these curves right here, just overlapping until through the paper I can see that they touch, and I can make sure that they're straight. I want to see that these lines are matching here, that this line lines up with its box, and that these curved lines continue as they should. Once they do, grab a piece of Scotch tape and just do a real quick taping job. You do not need to scrape the tape down and make sure it's firm, because you want to be able to lift it if you've made a mistake later. And then just move on to the next sheet. Here we're also going to match up these lines and make sure that the curves are right. And once again, we're going to do a quick taping job. Now we'll just continue doing that until the entire sheet is matched.